talking about 3 different things. So first off and foremost, we're going to be giving you some advice on if you're looking to sell or buy in this upcoming market coming into 2026 into 2025. We're also going to be talking about some of the market shifts that we're seeing across Florida, and also some of these are local as well. And then we're going to be discussing at the very end some really great events that are happening locally. So if you're looking to celebrate Halloween with your kids, or even just going to a great fall festival, you'll definitely want to stay till the end for that. So I'm going to kick it off to Mom because she's got the great info for our sellers.
So the first thing I'm going to talk about is I want to help sellers prepare. The buying season actually starts in mid to late January. Families are starting to get their tax returns. So right now, if you want to sell in that time, right now is a great time. The weather's getting nicer, so you can start preparing your property. So I'm going to cover that first. The first thing I want everyone to know that they need to do is they need to hire an experienced agent that has the knowledge of the community, knowledge of the area, and has the ability to get that social media presence for your property. Their social media presence is vital in today's world. The days of the agents just slapping it on the MLS and walking away from it, that is gone. When you're looking for an agent, please ask them what is their social media presence and take a look at their social media. That will take you a long ways in this market. The other thing that a lot of people are doing, this is nothing new, don't overimprove. This is not the time to gut your entire house. You will not get your money back. The things that you really want to pay attention to is decluttering. That's the number one thing that you do. It costs no money. All you do is get rid of the stuff you don't want. And the stuff you want to keep, start boxing it up. Get it off the shelves, off the floors, out of the cabinets, things like this. And the other thing is basic repairs. You want to be aware of the things that your house needs. Does it have wood rot in the door frames? Believe it or not, will keep you from selling your property to anyone that's using a government-backed mortgage, and that's probably about 80% of the market. So that simple little fix of fixing wood rot, which most Florida homes have it in the door frames, is just because the water lays there and people tend not to paint it or keep it painted as they should, and it will rot. It's a very easy fix and very inexpensive fix, but it can cost you quite a bit of money. Leaky faucets, that's another thing that comes up on a lot of reports, that if you have any leaky faucets, just fix them. Most of the time, it just needs a little seal or something very, very inexpensive and simple. HVAC, make sure it's working. Make sure you pump the septic tank. Get the septic tank pumped. People always want to ignore that. It is a very inexpensive thing to do. And windows. Make sure your windows are oiled and they move up and down. That's another one. Government-backed mortgage will not take windows that do not open. It's a health and safety issue. So those are the things that you really need to focus on, and that will help you save you a lot of money in the end, and it'll save you from having to rush around to do this. The fall is a great time because it tends to be slower for everybody, so you can get usually at a better rate. So that's what I recommend for all sellers to do. And buyers have a lot to do too.
Buyers definitely do. I definitely would say that if you're a buyer thinking about purchasing, I would highly recommend that you do it sooner rather than later. Going into this fall Christmas holiday market and time frame is the slowest time in real estate, which means sellers want to sell and you're more apt to get a better deal. You're more apt to get money in concessions, more apt to get repairs fixed, things like that, because there's less buyers in the market. So sellers are more apt to get those things happen to get the house sold. Now, most homes are typically sold between it starts pretty much at the beginning of the year. Once tax season, once people start getting their tax returns in between July and April, you'll really see the market start speeding up. And so most people, though, I know a lot of people use tax return money to be able to purchase homes. So if you're that person who's deciding, I have to wait until the beginning of the year, this is what I recommend that you do. So the biggest thing is get your finances in order. So make sure that you know what your credit score is. If you have some credit work that you need to do, I myself or Yvonne both can give you credit repair people to kind of get an idea of where your credit is sitting, and if there's ways to improve it within the next 3 to 6 months. Something else that's important too is, if you're having to sell a home, how much equity do you actually have? How much money are you going to be able to get out of your home? Are you going to be able to get a lot, a little bit? What does that look like? So maybe, hiring a real estate professional to come in to kind of say, hey, I'm thinking about selling my house. Can I kind of get an idea of what you think it'd be worth? And that might be really helpful. And then last but not least, saving for that down payment, that's going to be super important. I also think it's important to Also speak with a local lender. You can do that ahead of time. Most of my lenders will talk to you even if you're not ready to buy today, because then that way you're able to kind of get familiar with what credit scores you actually need to qualify for different programs, what down payment assistance programs you may qualify for. You may qualify for USDA mortgage, and then you don't have to bring so much money to the table. You also can possibly do a soft pull. I know Deanna Chosewood will do soft pulls, and while it's not 100%, it just kind of gives you an idea of what you actually can get pre-approved for, because it may be some crazy number and you may say, look, this isn't going to work for me. I can't purchase the house I want in my market at that price point. Last but not least, you've got to figure out exactly what you want. I recommend that you drive through the areas that you're thinking about purchasing. If you are relocating, you can always look on YouTube, drive around, just kind of get an idea of those types of things. Also, it's important to have the list of must-haves, because if you're going to a realtor, which was the next thing that I'd recommend that you do, kind of talk to them. I have people that I talk to that aren't going to be moving actually I have somebody right now who I've talked to over a year ago and is just now finally able to make the move. But it's important that you talk to us, kind of get a game plan together, because that's the best way to prepare. Because especially if you're purchasing in that busy season, even with the market being slower, it's still busy. So you need to be prepared, you need to be ready to go, so that way you can get your offer accepted, because there were multiple offers even during this slow market. It was still a thing in July. It was kind of crazy. So do keep that in mind. Now, I know we're going to be talking about some things that are shifting in the market, ups and downs, and so I know Mom's going to be discussing kind of what the positives of the market is going on right now.
Yeah, I mean, people are still moving here. There's no doubt about it, and that's never going to change. It just is a slower pace, which, it's not the ideal thing for everyone's pocketbook, but it kind of is not so bad for your stress level. When you've got 20 offers coming in, it can get a little crazy. So what I found was there's the three fastest Florida real estate markets today is Miami-Dade, Broward, and Palm Beach counties. That is the number one. That's probably been number one for a very long time. I don't see that changing. Actually, I see that growing even more, because the mayor of Miami is very business friendly. They are bringing California and Oregon, Washington, the whole Silicon Valley area up there. Many of them are moving their headquarters to Miami, Florida. And so, of course, that area is going to be infiltrated by that. And the property values, guess what? They're still going up. That market is still climbing. The second one is Metro Orlando. And of course, again, Metro Orlando is never going to die. It is a huge market. People are buying, selling, moving there, renting. It is just an ongoing thing. And the third one, this one kind of shocked me a little bit. It is the Daytona-Ormond and Daytona areas. That is not one of the largest metropolitan areas in the state, but it is one of the top growing markets, which I can see that. Daytona, we lived in that area for almost 30 years. And so it had a lot of growth potential. There's still a lot of old buildings that are being demoed. New condos are being built where the old condos got flooded out over the last few years with the hurricanes. And so this market is growing. And if you haven't been to Daytona in a while, Ormond area, you might want to take a drive. It looks a little different than it did a few years ago. And Daytona is just community for Orlando and Daytona. So people live in Daytona and commute to those cities for work. I don't think that's going to change either. And it's just a huge area with still a lot of growth potential. They built a lot of homes out there, but it still has that growth potential. The other gain that was interesting, and this was just a pure population gain in the state, is the three counties with the biggest population growth is Polk County, which is the Lakeland area, Pasco, which is the county north of Tampa, Wesley Chapel, that's one of the bigger areas, and Hillsborough, Tampa, of course. That, again, another metropolitan area. People come to Florida. They know these areas, so they pick these areas to move to, rent, and then as time goes on, they venture out and move into the other areas of the state. That's what I came up with this month. Even for me, every time I do this, it kind of gives me a bigger window into the markets.
No, it's definitely interesting. I looked at the counties in which have been seeing the most decreases and that have pretty much been on the decline, let's say, per se. There was a recent news article that came out by News Weekly that was just posted yesterday, and I thought it was very interesting. It was talking about the Florida market across the board. They said that the income needed to purchase a home on the average home in Florida has dropped by 7%. It would need to drop by 20%, but they're actually saying that we could see a 20% decrease across the board within the next year for the price of homes. So we might be at that pre-pandemic or right at the pandemic level when we first saw that climb. Probably by the end of next year, they're predicting, because we're almost at the end of 2025, which is kind of crazy.
That may be close to the bottom of the market.
Yes.
Because we would have looked at over the last 3 years, probably a 50%, close to 50% if you add another 20 to it.
Yeah, so it would be like a full reset of the market by then.
So we may be at the bottom.
Yeah.
That's a very fluid thing. It's like the stock market. You think it's at the bottom and maybe it's not. You think it's at the top and maybe it's not. Like, it's been doing that. And real estate is kind of fluid that way too. The one thing I know for sure is it's going to go down and then it's going to go back up.
Yeah.
And then it's going to go down and it's going to go back up. So, which would be good. I mean, it would be nice to have a reset and then start up again. Sellers, that's good news for you.
Yeah, that we're coming to it. They're predicting we're kind of seeing an easing of the decrease. I mean, it might be steadily down until next year, but once, I think we might, like you said, we might be at that reset point. Now, they were projecting I picked some local places and some non-local places, but the villages in Ocala were both mentioned in this article, which I thought was kind of interesting. So they saw in the last year, and between 2024 and 2025, a negative 1.3% in purchase prices in the villages, and that's projected to increase to 2.4. So we're seeing a decrease there. Now in Ocala, there really wasn't much of a decrease. It was a decrease of 1.3 from last year, so from 2024 to 2025, and they're only projecting a 0.2% decrease from there into next year. So Ocala, if you're looking to purchase in Ocala relatively soon, I don't think you're going to see a huge drop in that market, just because, like you're mentioning, people are moving to Tampa, moving to those areas, and then they decide the city's not for them, and they have young families, and so they're going to Daytona, or they're going to Ocala to
Inverness,
things like that.
Mm-hmm.
To kind of
commuter places.
Or, a lot of people work online too.
Yeah, that's true.
And they decide that, the cost of that is too much, which is kind of interesting, because Osceola, Polk County, Orlando, and Winter Haven were all of the places that you've seen the most decrease of population leaving. And I think some of that has to do with either overall cost, because Orlando and that whole Orlando metro has just gotten so expensive that nobody can afford it. And then Polk County, some of that is coastal. That might be part of it too.
A lot of people are moving off the coast and moving inland, like Polk County, Pasco County. That's more inland. Yes, there is the coastal there. Like Wesley Chapel is more inland.
Yes. But even these are seeing decreases, which I don't know. Maybe they're leaving because it's getting too expensive. I think
so. Yeah, it is getting expensive.
It's becoming not country anymore.
Yes, no, that is.
So, you're going to have that decrease of population. And then Miami, Pinellas, and Broward all have seen decreases, which that is all coastal.
Yeah. And it's also, they're just huge markets. And so it's going to be fluctuating continuously. You're going to have ins and out, in and out, in and out.
And yeah, and a lot of people are moving there and moving here. To Ocala or in South Daytona. Again, it's we're having this large migration. You have people all the time asking for Volusia County. Oh, yeah.
And they're coming out of Miami.
Yeah.
Or Naples.
Yeah, they just don't want to be there anymore, which I get, because it's just the cost. The last person that I sold a house that was in that area, I think their insurance was $10,000 in a condo for the whole year. It was crazy. That's insane. That's a lot of money a year that you're giving for insurance. I think people are just over it. I don't blame them. I think I would be too.
Yeah, I think so. The coast is not for me. I love the coast because, that's my home, but I don't want to live there.
No, I don't want to live there either. So what are some events we've got going on?
Well, I kind of did a little scan of the area. So they have, of course, you have all the Orlando stuff. You have, Halloween Horror Nights at Universal, right? You have the Halloween party at Disney, right? Mickey's Halloween party.
Got all that going.
That's getting ready to go full blast. And then you have the hometown ones, like they call it the Hometown Halloween Festival in the villages. It's October 23rd through the 26th. It's that weekend, and it's in Brownwood. And I don't know if anybody has ever went there. It's open to the public. Everybody can go. It's in the square. It is a lot of fun. I love it. I just bought my costume, so I'm getting ready for it all. In the villages, it's Halloween the entire month of October. There's a Halloween party every single weekend or sometime every week. The other thing was they had Brown and Brown Farms in Oxford. They have 5 weeks of fall. They have a big fall festival. So it's farmer's market. It's the old-fashioned kind of axe throwing kind of stuff, things that you would see in a fall festival. They are having it at Brown and Brown Farms there in Oxford. The other one is in Tavares. They're having their annual Halloween Boo Festival, and they have a trunk or treat, and they have, the same kind of things. And it's down at the Wooten Park in downtown Tavares in that entertainment district. Which if you haven't been down there, I really encourage you to take a look at that. It's really a lot of fun down there. It's right on Lake Dora, and that's the 24th of October. So there's a lot going on coming in October.
And then in October, we'll also have FAFO, which is the Fine Arts Festival in Ocala. My wife usually has her students art there, and all the teachers in Marion County will be having their students art there. They also have local dance studios come and perform. They have all kinds of different things that's really just focused on local artists and also the school's arts programs, whether it be music or like the fine arts. So that's always a really great event. They always do that every year, and I highly recommend that you go check it out. Another one was Matt Gray, if you know, who used to run the Ocala Oddities Market. They do this every year, the Gray Halloween Fest. It'll be downtown on the 10th from 5 to 10. They'll have costume contests, they have candy giveaways, they have all kinds of things. He really goes all out for this festival. He's become really well known for it, and I highly recommend that you take your kids to it. It is free to go to, you don't have to pay anything for it. Then you have the Halloween, they're having a big Halloween Fest, Inverness as well. They'll be doing that actually on Halloween, which is unusual. They don't always do these kind of things on Halloween, but they are. So if you want to get dressed up and go to downtown Inverness, which there's a lot to do there, it's actually really nice. If you've ever been there, they have nice parks there, and it's just a really nice Florida downtown area. I highly recommend that you go check it out.
All right.
I think that's all we got for you guys.
All right. Well, you guys have a great October.
Yep, and have fun in Halloween.
Yep.
Thanks.
Bye.
Bye.